Yo, what's going on, y'all? Archangel 7 with Genesis Gaming, and today we will be taking a look at a mono blue mill control deck. So this deck was built by moi. You're welcome. And yeah, man, this thing is tried and true for real. Like, this junk is pretty strong. And it's fairly easy to build too. So it's a bit budget friendly. You know what I mean? So let's hop right into it though. Lands, 24 lands, 21 islands, and then Castle Vantress. So basically, this adds a blue. You can pay 2 colorless, 2 blue, tap it, scry 2. This is for later in the game when you don't really have much to do, so scrying's really strong. And so the deck's main thing is just kind of controlling the pace of the match, slowly milling out your opponent, and yeah, they'll usually quit before you can mill them completely. So let's look at how we do that. So Merfolk Secret Keeper. That was strange. All right, so this thing, this is an adventure sorcery, right? So for its adventure cost, you just pay 1 blue. Target player puts top 4 cards of his library into the graveyard. Then for another blue, you can put it on the field, and it's a 0/4. The card's really strong, strong for mill. Like, just a 1 cost mill 4, like at the beginning of the game, is really strong. I only run 3 of though, but yeah, dope card there. Overwhelmed Apprentice. So this card is another 1-drop blue. When it enters the battlefield, each opponent puts the top 2 cards of their library in the graveyard, and then you scry 2. So once again, that scry ability is very strong. This lets you be able to filter through your deck, get what you need, yeah, and keep it moving. And you're going to be milling as well. So run 3 of those. Next card you run is Fay of Wishes. Now this card is tricky if you don't know what it actually does, but I'll explain it. So the adventure portion, actually we'll talk about the creature portion of it first. So the creature portion, you pay 1 colorless, 1 blue. It's a 1/4 flyer. You can pay 1 colorless, 1 blue, discard 2 cards, return it to your hand. Okay, so that's its creature form. It's fine. 2 for 1/4 flyer is actually really strong. So its sorcery is what's a bit confusing. So I'm going to explain that one to you. So you pay 3 colorless, 1 blue. You can choose a non-creature card you own from outside the game, reveal it, and put it into your hand. So what this card is saying is that you can go into your sideboard, pull one of these cards out, and put it into your hand, which is really, really strong. So basically, you want to set your sideboard up for things that the deck may have trouble dealing with. So one of the things this deck lacks is a definitive finisher, win condition, right? So for me, if I'm playing someone who, you have these weirdos who are running around with like 147 cards in their main deck for whatever reason, if that's the case, I'm not going to be able to mill them out. So I might go in and get like Ikoria Beast and try to win off of this, right? So that's just kind of like one example, but that's what this card does. So it's really strong. You're able to basically go into your sideboard, pull stuff out, and you can bounce this to your hand and kind of just keep reusing it if you need to. So it's a really strong card. I only play it at 2 though, because I don't always have a need for it. Next card is Hypnotic Sprite. This card is a adventure as well. So the instant part, you pay 2 colorless, 1 blue, counter target spell converted mana cost 3 or less. So it's kind of for early game control, just to kind of keep your opponent in check, not let them do too much crazy stuff. We know Johnny's Pride Mate is prevalent in Arena, so being able to counter that if they happen to drop it on turn 3, yada, yada, yada. So run 2 of him. You can also pay 2 blue to drop a 2/1 flyer. Lazotep Plating. So this card's pretty dope. I run 2 of them. It's 1 colorless, 1 blue. You amass 1, so basically you make this 1/1 little black zombie token, whatever. But you and permanents you control gain hexproof until the end of turn. Simple enough, right? They can't target anything that you own or you. Next is Omen of the Seas. This card 1 colorless, 1 blue. Enters the battlefield, scry 2, then draw a card. Then you can also pay 2 colors, 1 blue once it's on the field. Sacrifice it and scry 2. So a lot of scry in this deck, but that's a good thing. And then the draw is also strong too. So stolen by Fay. Now this is kind of a pseudo win condition. It's not always super powerful, but you can basically return target creature with converted mana cost X to its owner's hand, and then you create X 1/1 blue fairies with flying, right? So X is so you have to pay 2 blue guaranteed. Then you could pay any number of mana you want, and that's what X represents. So in late game, if you have 12 lands, you can make 10 of these flying 1/1 fairies, and yeah, so that's basically why it's a pseudo win condition. That could be strong, but at the end of the day, they could play like some cheap 2-drop burn spell that deals 1 damage to every creature on the field, and yeah, burn you right out. But this does work very well, though. So I only run 1 of them. Next is Queen of Ice. Another adventure spell. Venture is super strong. Like, that junk's strong, man. To be able to get 2 uses out of 1 card is just pretty nuts. So for its adventure cost, 1 colorless, 1 blue. Tap target creature. It doesn't untap during its controller's next untap step. So that's really strong. Just a little bit of lockdown. And then her cost is 2 colors, 1 blue. She's 2/3. So pretty decent right there for the cost. And whenever she deals combat damage to a creature, you tap that creature. It doesn't untap during its opponent's next untap step. So that's just a way to kind of lock down creatures that your opponent has. So super good there. I run 2 of them. And this guy is like one of the best cards. Like, if you're playing any kind of control, this dude is strong, because for a colorless and a blue, he returns a non-land permanent to an that your opponent controls to its hand. So this could be a creature, it could be an enchantment, an artifact, whatever. He can bounce it back to their hand. Then you could pay 1 colorless, 2 blue, and have a 3/1 flyer. Now, one downside about this guy is he can only block creatures with flying. That setback is much more devastating than you would think. Yeah, I'm just gonna leave it at that. It is very devastating. So basically, he's mostly just an attacker, but you can flash him in, so you can put him on the field during your opponent's turn as well. So, but he's really strong for the bounce effect on his adventure cost. Super strong, so I run 4 of. A little bit of counter here. So counter target spells, controller puts the top 3 cards of the library into the graveyard. So more mill and counter. It's kind of like a slap in the face, right? Like, it's like you take someone's food and then you also spit on them at the same time. It sucks. But it's 1 colorless, 2 blue, counter target spell, and then do all the other stuff. So really good card. I do play 3 of. Then we have Asiata Dream Render. This card's for mill decks, right? One thing you could run into is graveyard play, right? So this card not only does it mill you, but not only does it mill your opponent, but it exiles their entire graveyard once it does it. So like just say you've milled probably like 17 cards, and then you drop this. So it starts with 5 loyalty counters, just -1 loyalty counter. Player puts the top 4 cards of the library into the graveyard. So top 4, then you exile the graveyard. Like, that junk. This is another like slap in the face type of thing. Not only that, your opponent can't look in their deck. They can't search their library while this is on the field. So this card's really strong. You could run more, but 2 seem to work for me. So, but yeah, it's really strong, dude. This is one of the strongest uncommon cards that I have seen in a while. Like, this is strong. But next card, Gatwick the Wiener. This dude is actually really, really good. So you pay 3 blue, and then however many more you want to pay, you can. But he enters the battlefield, you draw X cards. So the additional mana you spend outside of the 3 blue, he'll draw cards based on that number. And whenever you cast a blue spell, tap target non-land permanent opponent controls. Really strong. You can just lock down your opponent, especially if you're able to like play things like Brazen Borrower on their turn, play Lazotep Plating, drop Omen Seas, like things that you can do on your opponent's turn. Yeah, not only do you kind of do stuff to them that hurts their play, but then you start tapping down their creatures and things like that. Yeah, this dude's really good, really strong, and he's a 3/3, so you know, fair numbers, right? Next, you're gonna want Thassa. So, I mean, any control deck, Thassa is gonna be there, right? So what's nice about it being mono blue is this is going to be a creature for you at some point. You're definitely going to have enough devotion to where it's a creature. She's indestructible. And then, yeah, she has her whole blink in and out effect, right? So basically at the end of your turn, you can exile any creature you control, then put it back into play. So targets you'd want is Overwhelmed Apprentice. It doesn't work with Gatwick because he doesn't, because you're not paying that mana to draw anymore. But Overwhelmed Apprentice and Agent of Treachery is who you want to do that with. So not a whole lot of targets, but just having the indestructible, having the blink effect, and then being able to tap a creature. So that's why Thassa is there. She's good. Mythos of the Luna, create a token that's a copy of target permanent. That's all you really need to know. You see something you like that an opponent has, copy it. You know, creature you got, such as Agent, yeah, copy it, right? So that's really what that's there for. There's 2 of them, then 2 Jaces. So Jace here, his first skill is dope. So basically, he puts the top 2 cards of your opponent's library well, you can put anyone's cards into the graveyard, but you'll choose your opponent because you're trying to mill them. But once you put it in the graveyard, then you draw a card. So he has draw mechanic. He also stops you from decking out too. Like so, if you draw a card while your library has no cards in it, you win the game instead. So that's really all he's used for, is just kind of help mill, draw your card, yada yada yada. The next, Flood of Tears. Return all non-land permanents to their owner's hand. If you return 4 or more non-token permanents this way, you can put a permanent on your card from your hand to the battlefield. Just more control. Just be able to take the whole field, reset it. Super good. Agent of Treachery, one of the win conditions in the deck. Enters the battlefield, gain control of target permanent. At the beginning of your end step, if you control 3 or more permanents you don't own, draw 3 cards. So this is the other win condition of the deck. So basically, you either mill your opponent. Sometimes this can be an ender by just attacking with a bunch of little 1/1s, but this Agent of Treachery along with Thassa is going to be kind of like one of your main win conditions. Drop him on the field, take whatever you like. At the end of turn, blink him with Thassa. He comes back in, take something else you like, and yeah, if they can't deal with him, you know, they're going to lose. They're probably going to quit there. So. But yeah, man, that is the deck. It is very strong. I'll probably upload some gameplay on this one. Then you can see how it works. But that is it. Until next time, I appreciate you guys stopping in, taking a look at the deck profile. And yeah, we'll catch you on the next one.